Hi guys, welcome to my study compass. In this video, I'll be walking you through the past paper, Math P3, Variant 2, May-June 2021. Let's get started. Alex is building a house. The materials cost 1.5 times the cost of the land. The wages cost 1.25 times the cost of the land. Show that the ratio of costs in its simplest form is land is to materials is to wages equals 4 is to 6 is to 5. If we represent the ratio of land with 1, then the ratio of materials would be 1.5 times 1, which is 1.5. And the ratio for wages would be 1/1/4 times 1, which is 1/1/4. When we multiply through the ratio by 4, we have 4 is to 6 is to 5. The wages cost $47,500. Show that the total cost of land, materials, and wages is $142,500. If the wages cost $47,500, then it means the ratio share for wages, which is 5, divided by the total ratio of 4 plus 6 plus 5, which is 15, times the total cost is equal to $47,500. When we make the total cost the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to $142,500. Work out the cost of the land. The cost of the land is equal to the ratio share for the land, which is 4, divided by the total ratio, which is 15, times the total cost, which is $142,500. This gives us $38,000. Work out the cost of the materials. The cost of the materials is equal to the ratio share for the materials, which is 6, divided by the total ratio, which is 15, times $142,500. This gives us $57,000. Alex borrows $28,000 for 6 years at a rate of 5.5% per year compound interest. Calculate the amount he repays at the end of the 6 years. Give your answer correct to the nearest dollar. Here is the compound interest formula. Big A represents the final amount he will pay, which is what we are finding. Small a represents the amount he borrowed, which is $28,000. R is the annual rate, which is 5.5%, and T is the time duration in years, which is 6. When we type this into the calculator, we get $38,608 rounded to the nearest dollar. When Alex sells the house, he makes a profit of 27% on the $142,500. Calculate the selling price of the house. To get the selling price, we add 27% of $142,500 to $142,500. When we type this into the calculator, we get $180,975. The diagram shows 4 polygons on a 1 cm square grid. Write down the mathematical name of the shaded polygon. The shaded polygon has 5 sides. A shape with 5 sides is a pentagon. Find the area of the shaded polygon. If we draw a rectangle around the polygon, then the area of the polygon would be equal to the area of the rectangle, which is 5 times 4 centimeters squared, minus the sum of the 4 triangles, which is 4 plus 2 plus 1 plus 1 centimeter squared. This gives us 12 centimeters squared. Describe fully the single transformation that maps the shaded polygon onto polygon A. When we look at the shaded polygon and polygon A, we can tell straight away that this is a translation because both polygons have exactly the same size and orientation. The only difference is they are located on different parts of the grid. So now all we need to do is find the translation vector. From the illustration, we can tell that the translation vector is 7, 4. And so the full description for the transformation will be translation by the vector 7, 4. Describe fully the single transformation that maps the shaded polygon onto polygon B. When we look at the shaded polygon and polygon B, we can tell straight away that this is a 180-degree rotation. So now we need to identify the center of rotation. For a 180-degree rotation, the way to determine the center of rotation is this. We draw a line to connect at least 2 corresponding points on both polygons. The intersection point of the lines is the center of rotation. In this case, the point is the origin. And so the full description for the transformation will be rotation 180 degrees about the origin. Describe fully the single transformation that maps the shaded polygon onto polygon C. When we look at the shaded polygon and polygon C, we can tell straight away that this is an enlargement by a scale factor of half because the sides of polygon C have half the dimensions of the corresponding sides of the shaded polygon. This is a positive scale factor because polygon C has the same orientation as the shaded polygon. From here, all we need to do now is to find the center of enlargement. We can get this by connecting at least 2 corresponding points on both polygons with a line. The intersection point of these lines is the center of enlargement. In this case, we get the center to be 4, 2. And so the full description for the transformation will be enlargement by a scale factor of half about the center 4, 2. On the grid, draw the image of the shaded polygon after a reflection in the line y equals 0. The line y equals 0 is the x-axis. So now we need to reflect the vertices of the shaded polygon in the x-axis. So for point D on the shaded polygon, since we move 2 units downwards to touch the line of reflection, we also need to move 2 units downwards from the line of reflection to pin the new position of point D. We need to repeat the same process for all the other points on the shaded polygon as well. When we are done, we are able to map out the reflected image of the shaded polygon. Pierre travels from his home in Lyon to Singapore. He travels by train from Lyon to Paris. The train leaves Lyon at 9:05 a.m. and arrives in Paris at 1:30 p.m. Write 1:30 p.m. in the 24-hour clock system. 1:30 a.m. is 1:30 on the 24-hour clock. However, to get the equivalent of 1:30 p.m. on the 24-hour clock, we need to add 12 hours to 1:30. This gives us 13:30. Work out in hours and minutes the time the train journey takes. To get the time duration for the train journey, we subtract the departure time of the train, which is 9:05, from the arrival time, which is 13:30. Under the minute column, 30 minus 5 is 25. and under the hour column, 13 minus 9 is 4. So the time duration is 4 hours 25 minutes. He then travels by plane from Paris to Singapore. The plane leaves Paris at 16:35 on Thursday and arrives in Singapore 13 hours and 45 minutes later. The local time in Singapore is 6 hours ahead of the local time in Paris. Work out the day and time in Singapore when the plane arrives. First, let's get the equivalent local time in Singapore when the train leaves Paris. To do this, we add 6 hours to 16:35. Under the minutes column, 35 plus 0 is 35, and under the hour column, 16 plus 6 is 22. So now to get the time the plane arrives in Singapore, we add 13 hours 45 minutes to 22:35. Under the minutes column, 35 plus 45 is 80. 60 minutes is 1 hour. So we add 1 to the hour column and leave the remaining 20 minutes under the minutes column. Under the hour column, 1 plus 22 plus 13 is 36. 24 hours is 1 day. So we add 1 to the day column and leave the remaining 12 hours under the hour column. Under the day column, 1 plus 0 is 1. This means the plane arrives the next day in Singapore, which is Friday at 12:20. The distance from Paris to Singapore is 10,736 kilometers. Work out the average speed of the plane. Here is the formula for finding the average speed. The distance d has been given as 10,736 kilometers and the time duration t has been given as 13 hours 45 minutes. We divide 45 by 60 to convert it to hours. When we type this into the calculator, we get 780.8 kilometers per hour. Pierre buys a watch for 400 Singapore dollars. The exchange rate is 1 Singapore dollar equals 0.658 euros. Work out the cost of the watch in euros. First, let's set up the conversion ratio. When we cross multiply and make x the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 263.20 euros. Pierre stays at a hotel in Singapore for 5 nights. The cost per night of the room is $170. His total hotel bill is $975.40. Calculate how much Pierre spends on other hotel items. To get the amount Pierre spends on other hotel items, we subtract the total cost for spending 5 nights in the hotel, which is $170 times 5, from his total hotel bill, which is $975.40. This gives us $125.40. Put a ring around the fraction that is equivalent to 7/12. This fraction is 49/84. When we type 49/84 into the calculator, we see that it simplifies to 7/12. Write these numbers in order, starting with the smallest. To be able to compare the numbers, let's convert them to a percentage by multiplying each number by 100%. The smallest percentage is 58%, followed by 58.3%, which is 7/12, followed by 60%, which is 0.6, followed by 61.5%, which is 8/13, followed by 66.7%, which is 2/3. Write 0.724 as a fraction in its simplest form. When we type 0.724 into the calculator, we get 181 over 250. The mass m grams of a ball is 415 grams, correct to the nearest 5 grams. Complete the statement about the value of m. To correct the mass to the nearest 5 grams, we have 415 grams plus and minus 5 grams divided by 2. The lower bound of m is 415 minus 5 over 2 grams, which is equal to 412.5 grams. The upper bound of m is 415 plus 5 over 2 grams, which is equal to 417.5 grams. So we have m is greater than and equal to 412.5 and less than 417.5. Ruth uses 3/4 of a bag of flour to make 1 cake. Work out the number of bags of flour she needs to buy to make 7 cakes. If 3/4 of a bag of flour is needed to make 1 cake, then how many bags of flour would be needed to make 7 cakes? This is what we are calling x. When we cross multiply and make x the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 1/4 bags of flour. This means Ruth needs to buy 6 bags of flour. A tin of soup costs $T and a packet of biscuits costs $P. 3 tins of soup and 2 packets of biscuits cost $15.50. Complete the equation. This value is 15.50. 5 tins of soup and 4 packets of biscuits cost $28.50. Write down another equation in terms of T and P. Similar to what we have in the previous question, this will be 5T plus 4P equals 28.50. Solve the 2 simultaneous equations. You must show all your working. First, let's label the 2 equations from parts I and II. We'll be using the elimination method. Let's start by eliminating the variable p. If we multiply equation 1 by 2, we have 6t plus 4p equals 31. Let's label this as equation 3. Now that we have 4p in equation 2 and equation 3, we can eliminate p by subtracting equation 2 from equation 3. This gives us t equals 2.5. Now that we have the value of t, we can plug in this value into any of the equations to get the value of p. If we pick equation 1, we have 3 times 2.5 plus 2p equals 15.50. 3 times 2.5 is 7.5. When we subtract 7.5 from both sides, we have 2p equals 8. When we divide both sides by 2, we have p equals 4. Complete the table of values for y equals 18 over x. When we plug in x equals negative 8 into y equals 18 over x, we get y equals negative 2.25. For x equals negative 4, we have y equals negative 4.5. For x equals negative 2, we have y equals negative 9. For x equals 2, we have y equals 9. For x equals 4, we have y equals 4.5. And for x equals 8, we have y equals 2.25. On the grid, draw the graph of y equals 18 over x for x is greater than and equal to negative 8 and less than and equal to -2, and x is greater than and equal to 2, and less than and equal to 8. So on the grid, we plot all the points in the table and we connect the points with a smooth line. Write down the order of rotational symmetry of the graph. The order of rotational symmetry is simply the number of times a shape looks the same when rotated through 360 degrees about its center. When we rotate the graph about the center, we get the order of rotational symmetry to be 2. On the grid, plot and join the points -8, -3, and 6, 4. So on the grid, we plot the points -8, -3, and 6, 4. Then we connect the points with a straight line. Write down the values of x, where this line intersects the graph of y equals 18 over x. So on the grid, we see that the x-coordinates of these points are -7 and 5.1. Find the equation of this line in the form y equals mx plus c. All we need to do is find the values of m and c and plug in these values into y equals mx plus c. By applying the gradient formula, we have m equals -3 minus 4 divided by -8 minus 6, which is equal to 0.5. We can get the value of c by picking the y-coordinate of the point on the y-axis through which the line passes, which is 1. So we have y equals 0.5x plus 1. The scale drawing shows the positions of house A and house B. The scale is 1 centimeter, represents 12 meters. Work out the actual distance in meters from house A to house B. When we measure the distance between house A and house B on the scale drawing, we get 7.3 centimeters. Now we can use the scale conversion to get the actual distance between house A and house B. When we cross multiply and make x the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 87.6 meters. Measure the bearing of house A from house B. This is the bearing of house A from house B. The easier way to get this bearing is to first measure this angle with a protractor, which gives us 113 degrees. Then we subtract 113 degrees from 360 degrees, which gives us 247 degrees. Another house, C, is 102 meters from house B on a bearing of 157 degrees. On the scale drawing, mark the position of house C. Using the scale conversion, we need to convert 102 meters to its equivalent measurement on the scale drawing. When we cross multiply and make x the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 8.5 centimeters. On the scale drawing, we use a protractor to measure an angle of 157 degrees from the north of house B. Then we pin the position of house C along this bearing such that it is 8.5 centimeters from house B. The diagram shows a field PQRS. PQ equals 98 meters, QR equals 67 meters, and angle PQR equals 90 degrees. There is a straight path from P to R. Calculate the length of this path. The straight path from P to R forms the hypotenuse of the right-angled triangle PQR. So to get the length of PR, we apply the Pythagoras theorem. This gives us PR squared equals PQ squared plus QR squared. PQ is 98 meters and QR is 67 meters. When we plug in these values into the equation and make PR the subject, this is what we have, which is equal to 119 meters rounded to 3 significant figures. The favorite sport of each of 135 boys is recorded in the table. Complete the table. To get the sector angle, we divide the frequency for each sport by 135 and multiply by 360 degrees. So for hockey, we have 45 over 135 times 360 degrees, which is equal to 120 degrees. For rugby, we have 27 over 135 times 360 degrees, which is equal to 72 degrees. And for other, we have 9 over 135 times 360 degrees, which is equal to 24 degrees. Complete the pie chart to show these results. The sector for soccer has been drawn for you. Using a protractor, we can start by measuring an angle of 24 degrees for other. Then we measure an angle of 72 degrees for rugby. After this, what we have left would be 120 degrees for hockey. One of these boys is picked at random. Find the probability that soccer is his favorite sport. This probability is equal to the number of boys who choose soccer as their favorite sport, which is 54, divided by the total number of boys, which is 135. This gives us 0.4. 135 girls are asked if they like soccer and if they like hockey. Complete the Venn diagram. We've been told that the total number of girls who like soccer and or hockey is 110. So to get the number of girls who like neither soccer nor hockey, we subtract 110 from the total number of girls, which is 135. This gives us 25. Now let's find the number of girls who like both soccer and hockey. To get this number, we subtract 110 from the sum of 53 and 68. This gives us 11. To get the number of girls who like soccer only, we subtract 11 from 53. This gives us 42. To get the number of girls who like hockey only, we subtract 11 from 68. This gives us 57. Write down the number of girls who like soccer and hockey. The number of girls in this region is 11. The diagram shows a triangle ABC and a line BD. AB equals BC and AC is parallel to BD. Angle ACB is 36 degrees. Write down the mathematical name for this type of angle. Angle ACB is between 0 and 90 degrees, and so this angle is an acute angle. Write down the mathematical name for triangle ABC. Triangle ABC has two equal sides. A triangle with two equal sides is an isosceles triangle. Work out the value of x. Base angles in an isosceles triangle are equal. The sum of the angles in triangle ABC must add up to 180 degrees. So we have x plus 36 degrees plus 36 degrees equals 180 degrees. When we make x the subject, we get x equals 108 degrees. Find angle CBD. Give a geometrical reason for your answer. Angle CBD and angle ACB are alternate angles, and alternate angles are equal. So angle CBD is 36 degrees. The diagram shows a quadrilateral PQRS. PQ is parallel to SR and SP is parallel to RQ. TSR is a straight line. SR is 8 centimeters. PS equals ST equals 6.5 centimeters. And angle PST is 120 degrees. Write down the mathematical name of quadrilateral PQRS. PQRS is a parallelogram because it has opposite sides equal and parallel. Work out the perimeter of quadrilateral PQRS. The perimeter of PQRS is 2 times 8 centimeters plus 2 times 6.5 centimeters, which is equal to 29 centimeters. Find angle PSR. Give a reason for your answer. Angles on a straight line add up to 180 degrees. So when we subtract 120 degrees from 180 degrees, we get angle PSR to be 60 degrees. PS and ST are two sides of a regular polygon. Work out the number of sides of this regular polygon. If PS and ST are two sides of a regular polygon, then we see the size of an interior angle in the polygon is 120 degrees. Here is the formula for the size of an interior angle of a regular polygon. The interior angle in this case is 120, and we want to find the number of sides n of the polygon. When we multiply both sides by n, this is what we have. When we group like terms, we have 60n equals 360. When we divide both sides by 60, we have n equals 6. Show that the height h of the quadrilateral PQRS is 5.63 centimeters, correct to 2 decimal places. To get the height h of PQRS, we apply SOHCAHTOA. This gives us sine 60 degrees equals h over 6.5 centimeters. When we make h the subject, we get 6.5 sine 60. When we type this into the calculator, we have 5.629 centimeters, which is approximately 5.63 centimeters rounded to 2 decimal places. Work out the area of quadrilateral PQRS. Here is the formula for the area of a parallelogram. The base is 8 centimeters and the height is 5.63 centimeters. This gives us 45.04 centimeters squared. A sequence of patterns is made using rectangular blocks. Draw pattern 4. To get the blocks for pattern 4, we add 1 more block to the top and 2 more blocks to the bottom of pattern 3. Complete the table. We see that the number of blocks are increasing by 3. So to get the number of blocks in pattern number 4, we add 3 to 7, which gives us 10. And to get the number of blocks in pattern number 5, we add 3 to 10, which gives us 13. Find an expression in terms of n for the number of blocks in pattern n. The number of blocks are increasing by a constant value, which is 3. So we can use this formula to get an expression for the number of blocks. A1 is the number of blocks in pattern 1, which is 1. D is the common difference, which is 3. When we expand the brackets, 3 times n is 3n, and 3 times negative 1 is negative 3. 1 minus 3 is negative 2, so we have 3n minus 2. Tara wants to make one pattern in this sequence. She has 84 blocks. Work out the largest pattern number she can make and the number of blocks remaining. To get the pattern number she can make with 84 blocks, we equate 3n minus 2 to 84. When we add 2 to both sides, we have 3n equals 86. When we divide both sides by 3, we have n equals 28.66. This means the largest pattern number she can make with her blocks is 28. So to get the remaining blocks, we subtract the number of blocks required for pattern 28, which is 3 times 28 minus 2 from 84. This gives us 2. Thank you for watching. I hope you found this video useful. See you in the next video. Bye guys.